Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. It is an awesome day to be around. Lots of cool things happening the last week. My name is Bonnie Sachs, and this is my happy half hour. I do this every Monday morning at 9 a.m. I just have a little conversation, a half an hour conversation about what I've noticed over the last week, what I've experienced, kind of sharing my own perspective and giving some teachings and some healings as well. So it is great to see you here. And this morning, I have been getting a lot of information about collective pictures. Collective pictures, those pictures that we have that actually don't belong to us. They're things that we have picked up for a group of people and that we are cleaning up in whatever way that might look like. So it's kind of interesting how this one showed up. Normally, I'm talking to you about something that I was aware of when I was out on a walk. And this one was actually when I was just sitting watching TV. And so it showed up for me last night. I was sitting watching a television show. The television show is called Yellowstone. I don't even know what channel it comes on. I think we are watching it on cable. But it is a TV show that is starring Kevin Costner. There's a lot of other stars in it. But it's kind of, for those of you who remember Dallas, the show Dallas, it's kind of got that sort of flair to it, that it's about a family that has been in the cattle business for generations, and that takes place in Montana. And it was really interesting because, there's some scenes in it that I'm not particularly keen on. It's not my thing. I don't particularly like, the violence and stuff. And it opens up with kind of a violent scene. And my husband had already seen it and said, close your eyes, don't watch it. So poof, all of a sudden, everybody's name pops up on my screen and I know who is here. Good morning, Robin and Rick and David, of course, who was there with me, and Aaron and Gretchen. Jill, it's great to see you all on a Monday morning. Maggie as well, good morning. So we were watching this show, Yellowstone, last night, and the storyline was just kind of going along. You get to meet the different characters. Kevin Costner has several adult children. You meet those. You start to become aware of some of the issues that are going on in that part of America, where there is a lot of tension between the Native American population and the cowboys, the people, the whites that have settled the lands. I just have to say white and brown people, and I say that only to make it really simple, so I don't have to keep being proper about it. Good morning, Eileen, and good morning, Felanice. It's great to see you. So, we're busy watching the show, and of course there's going to be a tension builder, right? And I'm not giving anything away by telling you that the tension builder is between the white and the brown, right? And how they interact. And what was interesting, because I'm definitely not doing a review of the TV show, what was interesting was the energy behind it, right? Because I'm constantly watching the energy as I am doing things. I was watching kind of how the storyline was developing, but the interactions and how they were developing the interactions between the people and the tensions that it was creating. And of course, there's a build-up to an interaction between the two of them. And I found myself really getting triggered. I found myself really like, oh my God, I don't know if I can continue watching this show. I don't know if this is a TV show that I'm actually supposed to be watching. And so I started to ask the question, what's going on? What's happening with me? Why am I feeling so triggered? Why am I getting such anxiety? I get normally anxiety, right, from watching James Bond films, and I don't like to be scared. I don't like to not know what is around the corner. So that's pretty normal for me. But this was something different. This was something that was showing up like, why can't people see each other for who they are? Why couldn't the cowboys see the Indians for how they were? For, they can both live on the land, they can both live off the land, they can respect each other, they can respect each other's boundaries and respect each other's cultures, that there could be a lot more that they send to each other in being love medicine. That's how it shows up, being love medicine for each other and respecting each other and bringing high frequencies to the situation. Now, I am a realist. I understand that that doesn't happen out there in the real world, and not everything is going to be look all rosy, and the TV show probably wouldn't exist if they resolved it all in one episode, right? So I understand that that is not the case, but there were two things going on. One was the piece about me seeing what was going on in myself, right? Recognizing what was happening for me. But the other was being able to see what is going on out there and how there is tension between cultures. It can be all kinds of cultures, that there is a lot of tension between. And I was just getting an opportunity to see it here in, the U.S. between the Native American and the population that lives in Montana that doesn't understand the Native American population. So the story goes on, and this tension builds, and I suddenly start to see, oh my goodness, these are collective pictures. Look at all of those pictures that were showing up. All of a sudden, for me, I was starting to see the tension between the Native American population and the U.S. population throughout history. And I felt like I was almost flipping through a history book that was titled Tensions Between the Two Populations, right? And it was just like flip, flip, flip. Look at all of those different times when there has been conflict and problems between these two populations. And it just kept flipping. And I was like, so many different times in the Northeast, in the Southeast, right where I live here in South Florida. There is actually an intersection of two roads called Military Trail and Indian Town Road, and it is not a coincidence that it is Military Trail and Indian Town Road, because there was a big to-do that happened there 100 years ago. So everywhere they were showing me in the Southwest, and in Arizona and in New Mexico, and then up into the Northwest where the show was set. And it's just how many times these two populations have been in conflict. And the book continued to go into a lot of other places in the world. So there are tons of places where there is conflict. One population has the money or the resources, and another population thinks they deserve it, and there's conflict. And it was just one thing after another that I was being shown, and it was an opportunity for me to see, like, this is nothing more than everything that has happened in history. It's not mine, right? It is pictures. My soul was showing me the pictures in a book form so I would understand that they weren't mine. And it was like we could just keep tearing the pages out and saying, this is not the truth of who we are. It is not true that we need to fight over resources. It is not true that there is something that we have to not see in another person in order to keep this argument going. At one point, I was being shown the Hatfields and the McCoys, and then I was shown Romeo and Juliet, and it was like part of the story that goes on where one population has to not understand the other population. They have to not be willing to give. And, in this TV show that I was watching, there was a ton of tension and, of course, a ton of people crossing sides to stand with the opposite side, and the tension that goes on in the places where we just don't want to understand. And so I was wondering, once I saw the pictures that were not mine, and once I understood that these were just kind of the agreements that I had, that I was going to pick up these low frequencies off the planet and try to move more of them. Once I knew that they weren't mine, I could start healing that. And that's one of the pieces to this morning's conversation, is that we want to always check and see if it's ours. Is what we're feeling really ours? Or is it something that is for the collective, for the whole, for a group of people that we have agreed to pick up? And we move those things a lot faster when they're not ours. Let's just move those pictures out. We don't need to keep them. They're not ours. We ask for the healing. We ask for Source to blow up the pictures. We ask for help to move those things out. It's really cool when we get that it's not ours. We don't need to hold on to it, and we can move it. Good morning, Dorothy and Earl and Laura. It's great to see you all. And we're talking about collective pictures, the things that are here on the planet for a whole group of people. And there's a lot of different kinds of groups, right? Not only do we have the Native American population, but every culture has some sort of group that was put down, was oppressed, was beaten in some way, that was captured, was enslaved, all of that kind of stuff. So we're talking about those pictures that we have in ourselves. They actually exist energetically in our own bodies. And when we can recognize them, we can move them out. For me, they happened to show up while I was watching a TV show last night called Yellowstone, which is about the Native American population and the cowboys that lived there, and the tension and all of what was going on. But it happens everywhere. And when we see these things, we can ask for help with them. They're not ours. We don't need to hold on to them. Let's move them out. There's no reason for them to continue to hang out and create havoc in our bodies. That's exactly what I did last night, and I was able to continue to watch to the end of the show, although I am sure if I continue watching the TV show, I will get triggered over and over and over again. Good morning, Jill. It's great to see you. I love when you pop in. I had another trigger happen to me when I was watching the TV show Outlander. Now, this happened a couple months ago. I didn't really give it a lot of thought. I just knew, wow, I think I was actually there. I think not in that particular scene in the TV show, but I was there at that time period in America. And Outlander is a TV show that started in Scotland and has moved to France. And now this last season, they were in America. It's based on a book. And in the TV show in America, they had a slave who was captured and was being beaten, and I would use the word tortured. I don't know that the people the slave masters would have used that word, probably not, reprimanded or something like that, but was being tortured. And it was something that I could feel just so deeply inside of me. And I actually had to get up and remove myself from watching that scene because it was so deeply disturbing to me. Now, I know that I was here in America in the Northeast during the Revolutionary times. It's one of the lifetimes that I know I had. And so there's no doubt for me that that was a remembrance. So it was very different from the collective pictures. It was something that I actually remember living through and have an awareness about. But either way, whether it's a collective picture or whether it's something that is a past life picture, we do not need to hold on to it. And we can definitely bring more healing, bring more love, bring more awareness to it, that it doesn't belong to us, and we can move it out into our Akashic records, or we can move it out completely, blow it up, and know that it is finished, which is really nice, because we don't need any extra reminders of what we have gone through in the past, or what society has gone through in a past. We just want to bring more love to the whole situation. So either way, whether it was something that you know that is, oh God, this feels like it's an entire population, it doesn't feel like it's mine, or whether you know it's something that is yours, you can just keep moving that out. Keep asking for help. It doesn't matter who you are. You can always ask for assistance. Ask Source, Creator, God, can I please move more of this? Holy cow, it's feeling really tight and yucky, and I'm feeling nauseous, or it's really disturbing me. Can I move more of that out? And that's always a really great thing. I can feel like all the everybody's stuff kind of like, ooh, working, stirring people's stuff up. Yeah, Dorothy, absolutely. You can have lots of stuff trigger you. I don't watch a lot of World War II stuff, because I know I have a lot of those pictures as well. And I just keep, remove more of those pictures out, can remove more of the things that don't serve me, they don't work for me. So good morning, Lauren, and good morning, Tara. So absolutely, whatever it is, just like everything else I talk about, we can always ask for help. It's one of the really cool things I like about the work that I do, is that it's not like you have to, send a message to somebody and say, oh my God, I need a session with you, I need some healing. You can do that. But you can also just ask, Source, give me a healing, please. I need somebody to work more on my stomach. I need somebody to work more on my nervous system, because I'm so worked up over this. Such a cool aspect that we now start to understand. We have access to that. And so that is a really cool thing. The other piece is this timing piece, right? That it is time for things to move. It is time for things to shift. It's time for things to be gone. I keep hearing like say bye-bye to them. And I was like trying really hard not to say that, but I wasn't getting out of that one. To just say goodbye to the things that are no longer working for us. So I think it was a text that I had this morning that was somebody who had said, I'm really struggling with my husband's ex-wife and the relationship that she has with the kids, and it's creating havoc, and they're really she's really manipulative, and whenever she sends the kids back, we have to undo all of this stuff and really work hard to get the kids back on track and to get them back where we know they should be. And it was a great reminder that everything happens exactly as it's supposed to. So, it was no coincidence that I was home last night watching television. I had the opportunity to go out and have dinner with friends, and instead it was like, you're going to sit home and you're going to be watching this TV show so that you have an opportunity to see this perspective and to move it out. The same is true for any of those relationships that you have where somebody is manipulative, is irritating you, feels like they just can't do anything right, that their whole purpose in life is to be there to annoy the crap out of you. Those are all there exactly as they're supposed to. I know, it's a little crazy, and we all do this like, really? How could that possibly be the case? But it absolutely is. That manipulative manipulative mom is there for her own healings, for her own awareness, for the agreement that she made between her and her kids, and her ex-husband, and even her and the new wife, right? They all have agreements. You know, if you start thinking about this, that is a hell of a lot of agreements that we make, right? All those individual connections. Look right there. There were 6 connections, 6 agreements that were made just in that one relationship, in that one situation. So we make hundreds of thousands, millions of agreements for people to show up in our lives exactly as they do, or that mom to show up and to be whatever she needs to be for the relationship she has with her kids. Her kids made that agreement with her. Every one of the souls involved knew that they were going to get married, that they were going to get divorced, that they were going to have a really tension-filled relationship, that it was not going to be easy, that it wasn't going to be something that was like, okay, we're done, and everybody walked away happy. They all have different relationships and different reasons why those situations have happened. So it's really important. The more we start to remember, oh, it's an agreement. It's an agreement. The more we can start to like ask for the healing and to step into the, she's not purposely aggravating me and irritating me. She is aggravating and irritating to me, but she is having her own experience, right? She is doing her own thing, and however it needs to unwind for her is exactly what's going to happen. Now, for those of you who might think, good morning, Lisa and Melissa and Jackie, it's great to see you. For those of you who might wonder, okay, what does this have to do with collective pictures? And what does this have to do with the tension between Native Americans and the cowboys who are, you know, the cattlemen that are have settled the land in Montana? It has everything to do with it, right? Because every single one of those people has an agreement with every other person. So the tribal Indian chief in this particular TV show has an agreement with Kevin Costner, who plays the big cattle businessman, right? When we're talking about in real life, although they do have agreements in all sorts of ways, but their agreement is to show up and be on opposite sides of whatever the storyline is, just be up on opposite sides for that particular issue. So they have an opportunity to experience each other. What I'm being shown, what that little hesitation was, all of a sudden I was like, I saw this, and then I saw this. And so what they're showing me is that everybody who's ever been a cattleman or a cowboy has also been a Native American. And they have the opportunity to experience both sides of the issue, both sides of the story. And it is an opportunity for us to understand more of what it is like to be on that side and what it is like to be on this side. The same is true in the case of the first wife and the second wife. Each of us has been the first wife and the second wife, and then the reverse. Each of us has been the husband. Each of us has been the child. Each of us has been the third wife or the fourth wife or the third husband or the fourth husband. And we have forgotten who we are, and we've forgotten what it is like to be from that perspective. And so they're showing me, if we come in and we start to go, oh, I know who you are. I remember who you are. I remember what that was like. Let me take a step back and say, maybe you're not purposely trying to manipulate the kids, or you're not purposely trying to aggravate me, or you're not purposely trying to get a particular response from me or have me behave in a certain way. Maybe instead you are acting out of your low frequencies. You are acting out of your pain, your fear, your unworthiness, your unconsciousness. Maybe you're not remembering what it's like to be me. Because I'm sure you've had a lifetime where you have been in my position. Obviously, you haven't been me, but you have been in my position. You have been the second wife before, and you've forgotten what it's like to be that. You have been the Native American, or you have been in the Japanese internment camp, or you have been the soldier, or whatever is the particular aspect that you're looking at. You have been the slave and you have been the slave master. And so when we start to look at that, then we can go, oh, wait a second. I know what this is. This is more low frequencies, right? This is more stuff getting in the way of me seeing you for who you really are. This is more of me not being able to trust that it's all going to unfold exactly as it needs to. And it's a really cool teaching for us to just go, oh, yeah, that's right. That's not who you are. That's not who I am. I don't have to act out of that fear or that pain or that big one. The one that showed up last night in that TV show was resources, right? That there wasn't enough resources, that there wasn't enough land, that there wasn't enough water, that if they had it, then we didn't. And if we had it, then they didn't. And the truth of the matter is that there is more than enough, that there is always more than enough if we come from that perspective, if we come from that point of view. If we can move the collective pictures out that we talked about in the beginning, if we can move our own stuff, right, the stuff that is there from when we have experienced ourselves in a previous life, when we can move those things out, when we can alchemize them, we bring in more love, we bring in more gratitude, we bring in more clarity, right? When we can bring in more of that, then we can go, oh, crap, we don't need to do it this way again. We don't have to play this story out. Of course, we can always put it on television so we can remind other people that this is how it is, that this is how it used to be. But we don't have to do it anymore. We can actually choose to say, nope, I'm healing that. It's gone. I'm finished with that. I don't need that picture anymore. I don't need to think that anybody else is an other. They're an other, right? They're not who I am. Instead, I'm going to remember that they are me, that they have been me before. And I'm going to say it's okay. And I'm going to heal it and move it and heal it and move it and get it better and better and bring more love, bring more understanding, bring more wisdom. It would be a really cool TV show, wouldn't it? Like have a TV series where every week they do a little bit more healing. They get a little bit closer to understanding who the other person is. Every once in a while, you catch a character that has that glint in their eye that goes, I think there's something else up here. I think there is an opportunity for us to heal more. I know. It's time for me to start creating a television series or to write a book that gives this kind of perspective. Anyway, it might be in the works. I want to thank you all for joining me this morning, talking about collective pictures, how we can be triggered by something we see, how it's always an opportunity for a healing, And I certainly hope you have a fabulous week. If there's anything I can do to help to move it along, just let me know. Take care and have a great week.